It's still hard facts, 92.3 Nigeria info. Sam Oracle Chinedu here. Court upheld the president's power to declare a state of emergency in any part of the country to forestall a breakdown of law and order. The Apex Court also affirmed the president's power to suspend elected officials within a set time frame. Now, this was the initial report from 2 days ago, Monday specifically. But now the certified true copy of that judgment is in the public domain. And well, it seems to tell another tale. I'm still with Chief Dr. Festus Oguche. You're welcome once again, sir.
Thank you very much, Sam.
All right. So what difference does this judgment bring from the initial report?
Well, the difference is that now the report is that the Supreme Court says in its exercise of jurisdiction or lack of it, because at the end of the day it said it has no jurisdiction even to try the matter. Now it says that the president has no power. He has the power to declare a state of emergency in areas that deserve it, in places that deserve it within the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but he cannot remove or suspend elected officials. Totally a detour from the earlier decision it made, and that's where the confusion is. And I was wondering why we can have such situation, knowing the Supreme Court for its clarity and consistency over the years, even before independence, that Nigeria has been situated. It's one respectable organ of government that when politicians begin to tamper with it anyhow, you begin to see this type of thing. And I just thought about the plausibility of it all, to the fact that could it have been possible that maybe the journalists all did not attend the session, and one of them just wrote a story and syndicated it to the rest, and for that purpose there's that multiple error and mistake in the publications, which is very possible. But then there's the dissenting judgment of the Honorable Justice Oguche. Justice Oguche is a respected jurist. He's an academic. I think he was at the Ebonyi State University. He lectures at the River State University here too, as well, until his elevation to the Supreme Court as a judge. And the dissenting judgment is just as it is, opposite the majority decision. And it was reported in that the dissenting judgment, which was 6-1, 5 against him and 1. He stood alone. Okay,
he was the...
Yes, he stood alone. He said the president has no power to remove, much as he has the power to declare a state of emergency, he doesn't have the power to remove any elected official. And that was it. That was the initial thing we read. So if what is put out now is said to be the main judgment of the court, the lead judgment of the court delivered by Justice Mohammed Idris, then what happens to the dissenting judgment? Where's the dissenting judgment now? Can you have the lead judgment be at par with the dissenting judgment in judicial content, in judicial decision, in the locus, in the determination of the court? I think the tone was set initially by the long delay in determining that case. It has been filed for quite some time. And we expected that in that circumstance, as is normal in the Supreme Court, even if they are on vacation, cases like that are raised serious constitutional questions, even during vacations, are determined with energetic dispatch. It was not so.
We're hoping the judgment will come during the emergency while the governor was suspended.
Yes. Yeah. They waited. No date was fixed. I think the governors had problem. No date was fixed until all the governors had now decamped. The majority of them had now decamped, shifted their political stables, and the matter had lost its viscosity, and a whole lot of water has passed through the bridge. The state of emergency had evaporated. It has expired. The governor had been restored. The members of the House of Assembly had been restored. Well, I tell you that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it, because it inculpates the governor, Mr. Fubara, on the issue of the destruction of the House of Assembly. Part of which also restored the members of the House of Assembly when the real cases challenging their defection, challenging their position that they never defected, was pending in several high courts. Even at the federal high court, we are yet to be determined. And also a lot of other issues emanating from the judgment of a Motosho that went through the Court of Appeal and all the way to the Supreme Court. So it was that decision that prepared the ground for the crisis that culminated to the president in imposing a state of emergency and all that. So I find it a little bit difficult to accept that maybe the Supreme Court could have the magic wand to bring the issues to bear. But you see, courts only interpret the Constitution. They don't define the boundary. They don't redraw the boundary, constitutional boundaries, especially in decisions that stretch beyond the immediate dispute. For instance, that the president has the power to remove elected persons. You've given him a license to begin to use that power arbitrarily. If you don't fall within his good books, or you're not with him on the mandate we stand, of course, you expect that you're going to be pushed out of the place. You know how Africans react to this type of powers and authority. So, a state of emergency is one that is approached with circumspection by every judicial system, and they understand that constitutions are not manuals for power alone. They are restraints upon it. But having wasted all this time and caused all these delays, we now have the Supreme Court that will give a decision on it. First of all, it says that it lacks the jurisdiction on the basis of the local standing, the capacity of the 12 state governors. And I'm beginning to wonder whether local standing has again cropped up to be the determining factor to determination of jurisdiction, particularly in areas like interpretation of the Constitution. We've gone past the ways of Abraham Adesanya against Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the issue of local standing. And it has now been proven by series of different decisions of the court that's been consistent on the fact that you cannot challenge jurisdiction or capacity of any individual if the subject matter calls for an interpretation of the Constitution. So we are now creating new jurisprudence in this area, this vexed area. Local standing, which is something that should be kicked aside. Then, of course, it panders to the issues of technicality. On when it should be that people who are Nigerians have the power, have the locus, have the opportunity, the privilege to ask questions regarding the Constitution and seek for its interpretation. So I don't see how that comes in. The delay itself is one that raises a lot of issues, a lot of points, because it tantamounts to denial. But then if you say that you lack the jurisdiction because there's no local standing of the persons that brought the action before you in your original jurisdiction, then why did you go into the merits of the case and say that the president has no power or has the power? We don't even know which one to believe.
Well, these are interesting times, and I'm certain this will be a highlight in the expected constitutional reform. Definitely a highlight.
What are you reforming? The Constitution is never ambiguous. There's nothing to reform. There's no ambiguity in the Constitution on the declaration of state of emergency. And when somebody takes it upon himself that he can do that by exercise of raw and naked political power, the Constitution is there to restrain it. Every state has legitimate interest in preventing this distortion of constitutional balance. And that also involves the people within that state. And I am saying that for the first time, the Supreme Court has come up with something that defies logic and clarity. Apparently, the backlash of opposition to what they have said is what had made them to make a detour.
Chief Oguche, every year there are conversations about amending the Constitution. We've even had a conversation about if we need a new constitution. We've talked about it countless times in this studio. This case is going to be a major highlight added to that conversation.
Somebody has told me that there's nothing wrong with the Constitution. It's just the manner we operate it. Rather than talk about amending the Constitution, why don't we talk about judicial reform?
Okay. Well, we have a few minutes on the clock, and it's important that the listener is an important part of this conversation. As a citizen, do you feel safer or more worried knowing elected officials could be suspended during emergency rules. Of course, the certified true copy has stated that the president does not have that power. The initial report states that he did have that power. We're waiting to see what comes of this. But like Chief Oguche has said, what all of this is leading to is a confusion that is difficult to describe. So what do you make of it? 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003. WhatsApp is 080 903 416. Please turn off your radio as you call. It's very important. All right, call back if you can. Hello, good evening.
Mr. Oracle, good afternoon.
Good evening. What's your name?
I'm calling from Lupopo.
All right, go ahead.
You see, my brother, we are having 10 complications in this country. Reason is that if you bring another lawyer tomorrow now, he will defend the judgment of Supreme Court. So, my brother, I just gave it up of the system of this our country now. Everything is turning upside down. Thank you and God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening.
Evening, Mr. Sam.
Evening, what's your name?
Obed, my name. I'm
All right.
calling from Port Harcourt, Mr. Sam.
Go ahead, Obed.
Mr. Sam, what a time to be alive in Nigeria, where things are turning upside down. Even though you say those people lack local standing, this matter is a matter that has to do with determining the powers of the president. Supreme Court contradicted itself, said the person lacked local standing, you don't have jurisdiction, and you went ahead and give judgment. What type of a country is this? What precedent are these judges setting out there on what's going to happen tomorrow? Now, tomorrow we'll still have another contrary judgment to this one. Sam, you can mark it. So it's so confusing. Some of us who are not lawyers, we are confused about what the Constitution is saying in this country. You have diverse interpretation of the Constitution. Even the FS court, that somebody will go can at least when you go there, it is a sign of belief that at least they can be able to interpret the Constitution. But we are having this kind of judgment. Mr. Sam, bye-bye.
He has expressed himself.
No,
That's what I think.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Mr.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Mr. Oracle.
All right.
If I go back to memory lane, this isn't the first time governor of a state has been suspended.
Oh my.
Now the issue is that
Oh, Chima, your line is breaking.
go back.
Okay. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, SOC.
Good evening. What's your name?
Greetings to your guests. My name is Ezekiel.
All right.
Calling from Uvumini.
Go ahead.
SOC, if I may ask, what is extraordinary measure? What is the meaning of extraordinary measure? I want you to put me through.
It's going to be difficult, my brother, because I also asked my guest the same question.
Because if we are following this word, extraordinary measure, that means as a result of what the president and his group claimed that the governor of Rivers State committed that led to the emergency rule in the state, that means he would have sentenced our governor by hanging. But it's also extraordinary measure.
No, it's not. You know,
we are talking about a measure that we can, whatever situation they set, that we can Rivers State down politically.
But you know, reach like that. I'll have to speak pidgin for this one. It's not.
I want us to understand this now. If they are giving us this phrase or telling us what they see that we satisfy them by their grammar, that the president has the right of extraordinary measure. Should it lead to the state of emergency in Rivers State? Just like your guest had explained, yes, the president has the bona fide right to declare a state of emergency, but not to suspend the elected officials, Mr. SOC.
Well, thank you very much. Let's see. Can I take a message? About the ruling of the Supreme Court, I'm ashamed of the individuals appointed as judges. They have actually sold their integrity, if at all they have any. They should have also given the governor power to remove local government chairmen. They should continue to do the bidding of one man. God will turn them down one day, he says. Jackson from Iba. We're running out of time. Chief Oguche, so what do we make of this? What should this signify moving forward? The precedent, of course, this will be a point of reference in some way, shape, or form, as one caller was already referencing Obasanjo's time. Very quickly, sir, as we wrap up.
Well, the Supreme Court exhibited differential to executive power and is cautious about political consequences and anxious to preserve the appearance of constitutional fidelity, which is not important here. I will say that extraordinary measures that the gentleman does not give one a boundless limits.
Yeah.
Boundless authority to do what you want. It must be within the provisions of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And if there are ambiguities as to what that means, then you look into the Constitution itself to find out that there are really limitations to what the exercise of the authority of the president to declare a state of emergency. I know very well that constitutional democracy all over the world treats emergency powers with suspicion and not reverence. And Justice Odunya, who gave the dissenting judgment, he punctured the narrative of the detour of the re-assertion. A dissent does not exist in abstraction. A dissent, there must be the fact that somebody is saying no to a decision you've made, which means that the original decision made by the Supreme Court within its hall, its hallowed chambers, is that the president has the power to remove elected officials. Now, this detour which they are making cannot exist in the abstraction of the dissent judgment of the Honorable Justice Odunya, because if you now affirm that the later decision which they put out to the public, certified through copies, are the authentic and valid decision of the court, then of course you're saying that there's no dissent at all. Okay. It exposes the later attempt at reinterpretation. And I will also say that the invocation of local standing after an exhaustive engagement with the merits creates the impression of a doctrine being deployed, not as a principle, but as a shield.
Okay.
I know, just like I said, the fact that they are supreme, the Supreme Court is supreme, does not mean that it's infallible. But I think a bit of a caution will be very, very important the next time.
Well, thank you very much, Chief, for your time. We appreciate it. Have a great day, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, the news update comes up at 5. After that, we talk NLC. Stay with us.